Hi guys, and welcome to another True Rehab videos. Here we are on Sunday, 1 week past starting my 7 weeks and 7 diet. So I thought I'd bring you a review on last week and then obviously give you an update on what I'm going to be doing for week 2. So first of all, I'd just like to thank everyone for the huge amount of support that I've had over this week. It's been fantastic to have not only clients but just random people actually thanking me for the videos and kind of coming up and saying that it was a great idea that I'm taking this approach to kind of giving you, the viewers, I guess a bit of more understanding kind of the, information that's out there. So it's so conflicting, and so my going through this process and then giving you a kind of good honest feedback on the diet that I'm going through has been a great, thing coming from you guys. So as I said, first of all, I'd just like to say thank you. So the diet this week, as I said, I went through the I Quit Sugar process, but I went straight to week 8 of the program that Sarah Wilson advocates in her book, I Quit Sugar. So I just want to give you a bit of a background on kind of what I did this week and then go through kind of what I thought about it. And I've got an Adam's top 5 questions that I'm going to be asking about all of the diets as we move along. So this week, while I don't eat a whole lot of processed sugar and processed food, I do have some of it in my diet. So it wasn't too difficult, I guess, to get this started this week. For people out there who might be having a lot of sugary drinks, fruit juices and kind of boxed food like cereals and things like that, so they might find it a lot more difficult. But me personally, I didn't find it that difficult to kind of cut that stuff out of my diet. What I did find particularly difficult though was giving up fruits and vegetables. So there's quite a few fruits and vegetables out there that have a lot of fructose in them, and in her 8-week program she wants you to eliminate them completely. So I eat a lot of fresh fruit and I love a lot of different kinds of vegetables, and quite a few of them I wasn't allowed to have, and I did find that particularly difficult just because they're quite fresh and I love fresh foods. I love fresh wholesome foods and whole foods. So that to me was the most difficult part of this diet, and something that I'm glad now it's Sunday night I get to have some sugary foods, and I've already had myself 2 bananas and an apple this afternoon. So that I'm glad to have back into my diet. So that's something I'm certainly not going to miss now that I don't get to have that. I'm sorry that I do get to have that. It's one part that I definitely don't recommend implementing if you are looking at doing the I Quit Sugar. So I'm glad that's out. I guess what my kind of breakfast, lunch and dinners would usually look like. I'll go into this a bit more detail later on, but I basically intermittently fast every day, so I don't actually eat breakfast. My first meal of the day is at 2 o'clock, so my first meal would be lunch, and then I have a dinner later at night. Now that's something I'm going to go into more. A lot of questions come to me from clients, and I guess you hear it all the time. Isn't breakfast the most important meal of the day? There's actually no scientific evidence that actually suggests that it is. You might find some evidence out there, but it's very kind of weak in, the studies that have been proven. I don't want to go into detail and kind of bore you on that today. That'll be something we'll do a bit later on in the future, and kind of methods of eating, not actual diet. So my lunches would usually consist of a nice fresh salad, spinach leaves, there might be some rice in there. Brown rice was allowed, there's no sugar in that. And then it might be some good lean protein with that as well. And then my dinners usually consisted of, again, some nice lean protein and some vegetables that were allowed on the diet. And I guess that's what I found most difficult, as I said, with the freshness of it, that everything basically was cooked and I didn't have a whole lot of fresh raw food, so I did definitely miss that. And what I found most difficult was, I guess, getting my carbohydrate levels up during the day. So bread, cereals, and all those kind of things are quite high in sugars, and so I found it difficult to kind of get my carbohydrate content up. Protein and fats wasn't a problem at all, but definitely carbohydrates was. So I guess that's what I found most difficult about it. Overall, great points that she does make in getting rid of a lot of that processed sugar, but some of it, as I said, I just don't agree with in regards to getting rid of a lot of the fresh fruits and veggies. So give it a go. I think a lot of people out there could certainly benefit from a lot of the points that she brings up. So as I said, give it a go, see how you go. I certainly would recommend it for, I guess, the majority of the public out there to kind of give it a go and try and reduce a lot of the sugars in your diet. I did mention last time that I'd take any questions or queries, and I did have a few kind of come through from viewers and from clients myself. And I guess the main one that did come up was a lot of the natural sweeteners that she recommends over sugar. And the main one, I guess, that she does bring up is Stevia. Now, I've got some notes here, so I don't want to kind of look like I'm looking at them too much, but I've got some notes on some things I did find over this week when I was doing some research into Stevia. I guess basically what most people are saying, is it good for me, is it bad for me, and is it going to be something in the future we find out that it actually isn't such a good product. But basically there's a few different kinds of stevia, some that are highly processed and some that aren't so processed, and I guess everything isn't equal when it comes to stevia. So I guess there's two ones that I want to bring up to you that I guess I saw. One that I guess is good and has been found in some studies to be good on lab rats when they've done in regards to their insulin levels and kind of pre-diabetic type lab rats. And that's called a green leaf stevia. Now this kind of stevia is a natural product, and it's I guess the least processed of all the stevias. And it's been found in countries like Japan and South America and used in those countries by its residents quite a bit as a natural sweetener. And it's about 30 to 40 times sweeter than sugar, and it's a great substitute instead of using, I guess, white sugars and things like that. The one you want to really stay away from is called an altered stevia and truvia. Now this is a highly processed product, and it goes through about 42 steps just to get to the end product that it actually has. And it has quite a lot of additives to it, and this stuff you want to stay well away from. It actually ends up being about, I think it was about 400 times, I think from memory, yeah, about 400 times sweeter than sugar. And it has a lot of ingredients that are added to it, and some have been known to be carcinogenic. So that one, definitely want to stay away from. Now I'm going to put a link to an article that I guess found most beneficial into the description of this video. So if you have a click on that link, that'll certainly show much more of that. I guess what I want to go into next, and I'm going to ask this of myself every single time I go through each diet, is Adam's top 5. So the 5 questions I want to ask: how did I feel? Did I like the diet? Was it easy to follow? Was it costly? And would I recommend it? So first of all, how did I feel? Again, personally, I don't eat a lot of processed food in my diet, so I didn't feel a whole lot of difference on this one. However, I did miss, I guess, the fruits and the vegetables. So I did kind of have, I guess, some downs and lows in my energy levels because of missing that. And I guess the fact that I didn't have any carbohydrates, or not as many carbohydrates in my diet, was the main issue. So while I may have had some lows and ups, and I guess my wife, who's now doing the filming for me today, she, and I'll give you a little view of her. There she is. She's been holding the camera. Great, thanks to that. Have you got your arms back? You all right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. She may say otherwise, but I don't think my my moods and my kind of energy levels are too up and down. But certainly towards the end of the week, I was certainly missing a lot of those fresh fruits and vegetables, and I think I was starting to get a bit grumpy at times on that, and I'm probably sure Amy can probably agree to that. Now, again, I guess that moves into the next one. Did I like the diet? As I said, 90% of this, I certainly agree with everything she says. Get rid of processed foods, get rid of sugary drinks, both fruit juice and kind of sugary drinks like soda and Coca-Cola and things like that. But most of it, I definitely agree with everything, and I would certainly urge a lot of you to get a lot of those processed foods out of your diet, because you just don't need them. So definitely a great way of going. Was it easy to follow? I guess mostly, yes, it was pretty easy to follow. Get rid of all those processed food. If you have to open it, it most likely has added sugar into it. So just get rid of all foods that you have to open and that are processed, and just eat good, wholesome, fresh foods that I guess you have to prepare yourself. The only other set, as I said, that wasn't easy to follow was the fact that I had to cut out a lot of fruits and, as I said, good vegetables that I have, I guess, sugar levels in them. Was it costly? Now, I did a couple of recipes from her book. One, which hopefully I'll try and get a video up on my Instagram, but it might already be up there now, of the, I think it was a cheesecake that I did of hers. Now, you have to buy a whole heap of weird and wonderful products like rice malt syrup and things like that that are quite costly. So if you are doing, I guess, a lot of those products that she does recommend, they are quite costly, but once you have them, I guess they're a staple in your cupboard, so it's not too bad once you've got them all. So, but apart from that, it's very cheap to actually follow this diet because it's all good, wholesome, whole foods that aren't processed and you don't need to buy, so that's fine. And I guess finally, would I recommend it? Yes, but there's a two-part to that. Yes, I definitely recommend it in that it definitely gets you eating cleaner, definitely gets you eating healthier, and it gets rid of a lot of your sugary products. And it was quite surprising on some of the products that I actually didn't think had any sugar in them, actually had quite a lot of sugar in them. Now, they may be natural sugars, milk being one of those. If you have a whole fat milk, the lactose that's in there actually is quite high in sugar. Now, lactose is a sugary base, but it's not, I guess, like refined sugar. So a lot of those things actually surprised me just how sugary they were. But I guess on the whole, as I said, I would definitely recommend it for most people to kind of get a hold of. Now lastly, what am I doing next week? Next week I'm going to become a vegetarian. Now I am definitely a meat eater through and through. I love my protein. I love working out and going to the gym and coming home and eating protein. Protein is a big part of my world. So becoming a vegetarian next week, I did it for my wife. This was certainly something that I was going to do later on, but she certainly loves being a vegetarian. She isn't a vegetarian through and through. She does eat meat, but she loves, I guess, more fruits, vegetables, and those kind of, I guess, dishes. So I'm doing it for her because she's home from work at the moment. She's a flying flight geologist, so when she is home, obviously we certainly eat more foods that I guess she likes more of, but when she's away, it's meat all the time for me, basically. So next week, vegetarian. Stay tuned. For me, that's going to be very difficult. For other people, it may be a very simple week, but I guess I'll be back next Sunday and I'll tell you more about it and how I went. But if you want to follow me, become a vegetarian this week. Follow, share, like my video, and I guess I'll see you next week, and thank you all again. See you then. Cheers.